All right. So questions. We got some questions this week, some good ones. People wondering what's going on. So Dylan, want to read the first one?
First question, 15 versus 30-year mortgages. What's the better option? We got that one from my good friend Caden.
Nice.
So 15 versus 30-year mortgages.
15 versus 30 year. Move my mic down, like blocking my whole face. All right. 15 versus 30 year. So here's the thing. 30-year mortgage, you're going to pay higher interest rate, right? Or sorry, you're going to pay a higher interest rate and you're going to pay more money in interest over time. So that's the downside. But you're going to have a lower monthly payment. So a lot of people go the 30-year mortgage route because that's what they can qualify for. They can get that loan easier according to their debt to income ratio, right? Whole bunch of real estate vocab jargon. Lingo, yeah. So your DTI, your debt to income ratio, that's what lenders look at to see if you qualify for a house or not. And so if we're talking debt to income ratio, we want to make sure that you stay under like 40% is the ideal number. However, some loans will go up over 50%. But because of people's income and people wanting to buy really nice houses or really big houses, that's why we end up getting, a lot of people going the 30-year mortgage route because the payment's lower. It's what they can afford. But that being said, if you're going to be in the home for the long term, like if you are moving into your house and you're like, hey, this is my forever home, I want to be here forever, then you're probably better off going ahead and doing the 15-year mortgage if you can qualify for it, because while your monthly payment's going to be higher, you are going to save tens of thousands of dollars on interest. It's going to be insane the amount of money you save on interest. So that is a good option to look at. A lot of people think, the difference in your monthly payment between a 30-year and a 15-year is that the 15-year is going to be double the monthly payment. It's not, because your interest is so much lower. So you're looking at the compound interest, that's lower, as well as your interest rate's lower. So anyway, long story short, if you can qualify for a 15-year mortgage and you can make that payment, go to 15.
That's a good answer. I got nothing to add to that because I think you covered it all.
I was babbling, rambling forever.
Next question. And again, this comes from Caden. It's about the Airbnb rental laws in Utah and if that's a good investment right now. And to answer that question, I think it's kind of a broad question. It all comes down to where are you looking to buy and rent in Utah for that Airbnb.
And what's your long-term real estate investing goals?
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish with this investment?
Because right now in Hurricane, Utah, you have a huge waiting list to rent your home. So you're
all of St. George.
Years out. Yeah. That entire probably county, I would think. Right?
Yeah. Washington County. Yeah.
You're years out until you can start renting that home. Other places, you might be able to do that quicker or even right now. But then you have to look at is this in high enough demand that we're going to have enough renters to, pay that mortgage? How often is my family going to be staying at the property? Like I said, what's the goal of the property? That changes a lot.
I'm going to Airbnb a house in Roy, Utah.
Yeah. And I just don't think
it's not going to work.
No.
If you're looking at an investment in Roy, you're hoping it's a duplex or a fourplex.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, that's a great point. You want to make sure, number one, that the codes, covenants, and restrictions, the CC&Rs, are going to allow you to nightly rental that place, first of all. And then, the other good option is to just go on to VRBO or Airbnb and see what places in the area that you're interested in are renting for. Here's the other thing to consider, okay? So if your goal with this investment property is to monthly cash flow, then I think the Airbnb is not the best option. I think you're better off trying to find a fourplex, multi-unit, and that's going to be your best option for cash flow monthly. Now, I just bought that place in Hurricane. We're hoping to nightly rental it here soon, once we were able to get our permits and stuff. But my goal with that was not monthly cash flow. I was not looking to try and get something that I'm making money every month. I wanted a vacation home that hopefully I can make a little money on the side on. So, and then the long-term play on that property is I know that prices in Washington County are skyrocketing. And so I knew that if I got in right now, that over the next 5 to 10 years, the appreciation would be really good for me. And then that's how I'd make my money in the long run, right?
Real estate's always a good investment.
Best time to buy real estate's yesterday.
Yep.
So, good question. There's a lot more detail we could go into on this stuff, but we've got kind of rapid fire here on the Q&A.
Well, and super quick, I also think those fourplexes that you are talking about compared with a single family home to rent, number one, like I said, is cash flow coming in and consistent cash flow when you're with a fourplex, as well as those probably are going to appreciate more than your single family.
Yeah,
so.
True.
All right. I'm going to get paused again while I look at the question.
Pause. Oh, Mom. Got Mom trying to call in the middle of the live. Call her back.
Okay.
Shout out. Sorry. Shout out. Our sister Kayla is getting married this weekend. Congratulations. That's probably why Mom's calling, probably to give me more assignments about the wedding. Anyway, next question.
Okay, next question. Now she's calling me. Okay, next question.
You're on the hook now too.
Yeah. Next question is signs of a housing bubble right now.
Ooh.
So, signs that there are a housing bubble. Home prices are escalating quickly.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm going to say to that. I'm going to say pause. That question is answered in our next market update video that is going to be released next Tuesday. So there's your little teaser. If you want to see that, check out our YouTube channel. Next Tuesday, we're going to releasing a video about the housing market and the bubble and our predictions for 2022. So I don't want to get into that here because I want you to watch the YouTube video and subscribe.
And there's a reason I use the word escalated quickly and not inflated quickly, because appreciation and inflation are different. Anyways, moving on to the next question. Yeah.
Apples and oranges.
Moving on to the next question. Okay, I think this is probably my favorite question we've gotten. And this is just general trends and changes as we look at, let me look and get this better here. Yeah, generational. So any generational changes and trends that we're seeing in the housing market as more millennials are becoming first-time home buyers. There are different trends happening, and not just in the housing market, but in the entire, economy of the world right now. Yeah.
So you ready to hear my prediction?
Yep.
This is according to Chris, right? So this is based off what I'm seeing, what I'm reading and everything, right? So it's not like I come up with this out of my own mind. Like there's things that lead me to believe these things. I think over the next 20, 25 years, over the next generation, right? There is going to be a significant amount of homes purchased by investors. And we are going to see the numbers of renters go up in Utah and the number of homeowners go down. Because I'll tell you right now, 2 out of the last 3 listings that I've sold have gone to investors.
And it's really frustrating. Number one, as a millennial, looking at this, and I agree. I think we are definitely heading in that direction. And I think a lot of that has to go with millennials saying like, oh, home prices are too high. And there's a huge trend with, millennials paying my college tuition is too high. I don't want to pay my college tuition. Home prices are too high. I don't want to pay for a home, so I'm just going to rent. There's a huge trend in taking the easy route with millennials compared to past generations. And so what's really sad is millennials choosing the renting route because it's too much work to buy a home. And in their minds, they think they're saving money by renting, but they're paying more money to rent than they are to buy a home.
Yeah.
And not building equity when they're renting.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, but I think the generational change that is going to happen is we are going to see an even broader gap in the classes, right? The lower, middle, and upper class. I think basically the middle class is going to disappear. And there's going to be the lower class and the upper class. And real estate is a way to create wealth. And I think
the separation in those classes.
Yeah, I think that those that are renting are going to kind of get stuck in that lower class and not be able to buy a home and not be able to move up. And the people in the upper class are just going to continue to get richer and more wealthy as they buy more and more homes. So here's the thing, right? I'm going to get some flack. People are going to give me grief and be like, well, why are you selling your houses to investors? The problem is they're the ones willing to pay the most money. And so it's in the best interest of my seller to sell it to them, right? So don't give me any crap.
Well, again, I see a lot on social media with that new generations, Gen Z, millennials, a lot of hate going towards landlords and talking about how greedy landlords are.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying they aren't, but I want to know a person who in their mind is like, oh, I can get this much for renting my my house. Like I'm going to get maximum.
But I'm going to knock $300 off out of the goodness of my heart.
Almost everyone's going to choose maximum amount they can get to rent their house or apartment, whatever it is. And so instead of, again, this is bold to say this, instead of complaining, it's like, okay, well, let me go get my own house. I can be my own landlord.
Yeah. Quit paying rent.
Yep.
No, that's a good question though. So the other thing that I don't have a prediction on, but I think is going to be really interesting. I'm drawing a blank now. What's the metaverse?
The metaverse, yeah.
Metaverse.
Mr. Mark Zuckerberg.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the whole world changes once this metaverse rolls out. I think it could have an impact in real estate. Like, I think we could change the way, I think it could become that we no longer go and tour houses in person. Like, I think your first showings, we already have 3D showings and stuff like that online where you can click through the Matterport video and stuff, which is really cool. It's an awesome thing. But I think the metaverse and stuff, it's get to where rather than getting on Zillow or something, you're going to get on the Realtor's website. You're going to throw on your virtual reality, Oculus, goggles, get on the metaverse, and that's how you're going to walk through the house and walk through the neighborhood and see what's going on there to decide if you want to see the house. But that being said,
pictures lie so much to it.
That's true.
I have seen some houses on the MLS about to go show my clients, and the house looks beautiful, and you get to the house and you're like, do I have the right address?
Or you get to the house and you're like you look at it, and it doesn't look anything like the pictures, or it looks beautiful and you walk in and you're like is that cat piss or weed?
So you touch the cupboards and they feel like they're going to break, and they look pretty on the outside, but those good old flips. Yeah.
People will always want to see a home in person before they buy it, but I do think the initial, the home search process is going to change. The home buying process is probably going to stay the same. But
yeah, one more,
uno más. Por favor.
Another question by Caden, which is about smart contract technology, which I think we're going to have to look into more. Because I don't know if we have a good enough answer, in its impact on the real estate housing market.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Do I think it's coming? Yes. But it still hasn't happened yet. You know what blows my mind? Lending companies are still requiring that you sign in person with wet ink to buy a home. And it has to be blue. You have to still physically go and sign for a house. At what point are they going to figure out a way to get it caught up so you don't even have to go to the title company and you can just DocuSign?
Yeah.
We sign all of our contracts as far as the purchase contract and the initial agreement. Virtually, we send it through DocuSign, whatnot, right? People use
send offers through DocuSign. We everything,
right? We all do that right now. However, the lending world still requires to close on the house and to get the loan for the money that you wet signature. So silly.
Which is especially weird after COVID. You think that would have?
Yeah. When is that going to catch up?
Push for a change.
If COVID didn't push that change,
what is? I don't want to find out.
Yeah. But the other thing that's really interesting though, bringing that up, we actually just this last week released a video about Zillow. So check that out. Yesterday we released it about Zillow, because as far as smart contracts, smart technology and stuff, right? Zillow just tried that. Like Zillow tried to create an algorithm, tried to create the artificial intelligence that would go out, evaluate prices on homes. And when homes came on the market, or even when they were off market, Zillow was making offers on these homes based on their Zestimate, based on their algorithm.
And look how that turned out.
Turned out terribly. They have lost tons of, millions.
And they cut off 25% of their workforce.
Had to fire 25% of the workforce. It flopped big time. So if you want to hear how that's going to affect the housing market,
go check their stock too.
Yeah, their stock plummeted like 30%. So good questions. Who was that?
Caden,
you're the man.
Yep.
Those are many
many
questions. Good questions. Anybody else, if you have questions, please feel free, send them over to us, DM, text. If you want to jump on the live, you can always comment on the live, any questions that you have. Happy to answer them. If there's no other questions though, doesn't look like anybody on the live right now sent in anything. And yeah, again, shout out to Kayla, future Mrs. Hawks, Dylan Hawks. Maybe that's the question you should answer. Is Dylan Hawks a good enough person to marry our sister?
Well, he's not on our live, so I think that answers the question. But you know who is here? Sammy Johnston,
the future Mrs. Brower. Well, I guess I should point out you're up here. You're over here in person. You're up here. No, maybe that's the question you should answer too. Is, are you ready for marriage?
Okay, we're ending the line.
Okay. Yeah, thanks everybody for chiming in. Again, the Q&A, if you have questions, doesn't have to be all things real estate. We're happy to talk about whatever you guys want. So thanks for tuning in.